Hello and welcome in our YouTube channel Metallurgical Facts. This is the fourth part of the video series, that is RINL WISEC Management Trainee Part MT Exam 2020. We are doing the practice of metallurgical engineering questions. So this is part 4, and before this we have uploaded 3 videos in this series. If you did not watch those videos, go through the playlist of RNL WISEC Management Trainee Exam 2020 and watch those videos also. So this video contains 3 NAT type problem, that is numerical answer type problem, and rest questions are of MCQs. Okay, so I hope this will boost your preparation of RNL WISEC Management Trainee Exam. So, taking the first question of this video, the ASTM grain size number of material which shown 64 grains per square inch at magnification of 200x. So they have given magnifications and 60 and grains per square inch. So we have to identify the ASTM grain size number. Okay. So in previous video we have already seen the use of this type of formula, which I am going to write here, that is n is equals to the power n minus 1. If this is at 100x, and if we will be given the magnification, we can add this magnification part. So m by 100 whole square multiplied by n is equals to the power n minus 1. So where n is grains per square inch and this n small n is ASTM grain size number, and this m is magnification. Okay, so we will put the values. After putting the values, we can solve this type of problem mm, by very easy way. So 2 n value we have to calculate, so we can write like that. This is to the power 4 to the power 6 is equals to the power n minus 1. Okay, so to the power 8 to the power n minus 1. So n minus 1 is equals to 8, n is equals to 9. So the answer of this question is 9. So the ASTM grain size number of the material which shown 64 grains per square inch at magnification of 200x, having grain size, ASTM grain size 9. Okay, so here we can also apply the ln formula, and we can solve by taking ln at both sides. Next question is, in froth flotation process, which one of the following acts as depressors? Okay, so froth flotation process is basically concentration process. Okay, there are many concentration processes which we will read whenever we will do the ore dressing part, and they are asking which one of the following acts as the depressors. So in froth flotation process, we add many things like depressors, activators, stabilizers, collectors, frothers. Okay, so these are the 4 options: CuSO4, B part pine oil, NaCN, and carbonates. Okay, so now we will see that CuSO4 CuSO4 is basically activator used as activator. That is, activator does opposite behavior to the depressors. Okay, so this is not correct part of this question. The next one is pine oil. This is the most commonly used frother, that is used in froth flotation process. Okay, so everyone must know this pine oil is used as frother. The next part is NaCN. So NaCN is acts as depressors. Okay, so what depressors do in froth flotation process? The depressors renders a surface inactive towards the collectors. Okay, so as a depressor we can use one more compound, that is CaO is also used as depressors. Okay, D part is thiocarbonates are basically collectors. Okay, thiocarbonates are basically collectors. Instead of thiocarbonates, we can use potassium ethyl xanthate, or this is also known as xanthate salt. Okay, and fatty acids can also be used as as a collectors. So the correct answer for this question is NaCN. NaCN is a depressors in froth flotation process. So the next question is, In an X-ray diffraction experiment, radiation of wavelength that is 0.154 nanometer is assumed. Assuming the order of reflection to be 1, the Bragg's angle, they are asking about the Bragg's angle for the 2 to 0 set of the planes in copper will be. Consider copper has FCC crystal structure with atomic radius. So they have given atomic radius for this question. So 0.28 nanometers. We will write the given data. Lambda is also given, that is 154 nanometers. While reading the questions, we should understand which formula is applicable for this type of questions. So sometimes if we forget the formula, if we will write the given data, by that also we get the idea which formula must be applied, which formula is applicable for this type of question. So reflections, order of reflections, we use n, that is n is equals to 1, and they have given the set of planes, that is HKL value is equals to 2 to 0. Okay, so we know for this type of questions we should apply Bragg's equation, that is 2d sine theta is equals to n lambda. Okay, so this lambda is given, that is wavelength, this n is given or given order of reflection, this sine theta, theta means Bragg's angle. Okay, so this d value is equals to interplanar spacing. So how we can calculate d value? We don't know d value, we know the radius of atom. So d is equals to a by under root of h square plus k square plus l square. Okay, so if we will able to calculate d, then we will able to calculate theta value. Okay, so d, how we can calculate? By using the lattice parameter. And we know this is they have given that copper FCC structure, so we can calculate the value of lattice parameter by using radius of atom. Okay, so the relation between the radius of atom and lattice parameter is equals to root 2a is equals to 4r. So here we will put the value of r, and we will try to identify the value of lattice parameter, that will be equals to point 0.36 0.3620 nanometers. So this lattice parameter will also be in nanometers. Okay, so here we will put this lattice parameter value, that is 36203 under root of h square k square l square value is 220. So we will take it as 4 plus 4 plus 0. So this d value will come as 0.128. This will also in nanometers. So in this equation, now this equation, in this equation we will put the values of d we also know, and this lambda value, this n value we will put in this equation, and we will find the value of sine theta. Okay, basically Bragg's angle we have to identify. So we will solve for sine theta. So we are putting the value 2 multiplied by 0.128 sine theta, we have to identify this n is equals to 1, and this is 0.154. Okay, so from here we can calculate like that, sine theta will be equals to 0.154 by 0.256. Okay, or this will be equals to 0.6015. Okay, so sometimes we did mistakes here. They ask for Bragg's angle, and we write like that sine theta value. Okay, so we don't have to write sine theta value, we have to identify this theta value. Okay, for theta value we can use sine inverse of 0.615. So here, from here we can find this value. Okay, so this theta will be equals to 36.97 degrees in degrees. Okay, so they asked about the Bragg's angle, so we will find the theta value, not sine theta value. And in this question they can also ask like that, they if they will not ask Bragg's angle, they can ask about diffracted angle or diffraction, angle of diffraction. Okay, so diffracted angle will be twice of theta. So whenever they will ask about the refracted angle or angle of diffraction, we can multiply by this theta by 2, and we will get diffracted angle. Okay, so this is also a confusion point in this question, in this type of questions. Okay, so we should very clear about the refracted angle and Bragg's angles. Okay, so sometimes while using the virtual calculators in exam, we did mistakes, that we generally find sine value or sine hyperbolic value for this type of questions. So don't do this type of mistakes and use HMS as virtual calculator. That will be beneficial for your exam purpose. So in this question we can say the answer of this question is 36.97 degrees. Okay, so this is the correct answer. The next question is, in the Griffith equation, the fracture stress is proportional to. So they have given the four options, that is under root of C, 1 by root C, 1 by C and 1 by 2C. So for doing this type of question, we should know about the formula. So Griffith equation is basically used for brittle fracture. Griffith energy balance criteria for crack propagation is, we can write like that: sigma F is equals to under root of 2E gamma by C. Okay, so this sigma F is basically fracture stress. This E is elastic modulus, Young's modulus. Okay, this gamma is surface energy. This gamma is surface energy, and this C is crack length. Okay, so this C is crack length. So this crack length having unit in micron meters or mm. Okay, and this sigma F having unit in nanometers per, sorry, newtons per meter square. This Young's modulus also Newton per meter square, and this is having joule per meter square. Okay, so from here we can identify that sigma F is inversely proportional to root C by this formula, and we can also relate this sigma F by E value and gamma value, that is surface energy. So this crack length is basically two types. We get two types of crack lengths in numerical type of problems of Griffith equation. So we will know, or we will try to understand what is these two type of cracks. Okay, so this is the surface where we are applying stress. Okay, this is sigma, this is sigma. So the the cracks at the surfaces or edges will be like that. So in this value is C, and in the centers or in the internal cracks, this will be 2C because of elliptical shape. We consider like that. Okay, so whenever they will say the internal crack length, we will take it as 2C, and whenever they will say this is edge crack length or surface crack length. Okay, surface crack length or edge crack length, we will take it as C value. So this C is basically surface crack length. Okay, surface crack length. So this is the doubt among the students while doing the numerical problems of Griffith theory. So most of the students do the wrong, they did wrong by applying this formula. They did not understand we should take 2C or we should take C value in this type of question. So whenever they will say internal crack length, we will take it as 2C. If they will say surface edge crack length, we will take it as C. Okay, so for this question, the answer of this question is B part, that is 1 by root C. So the correct answer is B part. Next question is of matching type question. So in group A, there are some laws are given, and in group B, there are some terms given. Okay, so we have to match this A group to group B. Okay, so for this type of questions, we already talked that we will not move to the directly to the options. We will not check the options. Rather than checking options, we will create our own option code. Okay, so we will write like that. We will write P, Q, R, S, and then we will find which one is odd or which one is common, and which one I know. Okay, so in this type of questions, we know that fixed law I know the Fick's law. Maybe some of you also know about the Siebert's law or Rittenger's law. So I will start from Fick's law. So S Fick's law can be matched by diffusion. So S I am matching as 1. So I see that in this type of options, I did not find S corresponds to 1 in any of three options. Okay, so I can directly take the this option, but we will check because this is the practice session. Okay, so the Sievert's law we also know, that is Q we can match. Sievert's law is basically gas solubility in metals and alloys. So Q we can match by 4. Okay, so Rittenger's law is basically related to the size reduction. I will tell in details in this video. Okay, Rittenger's law is basically related to the size reduction. So P we can match by 2, and this parabolic rate law is basically related to the oxidation or metal gas reactions. So this R value will be 3. So 2, 4, 3, 1. So we can find that option B is correct for this type of question. So now we will see what is Rittenger's law. Okay, so Rittenger's law is basically known as, so first option is Rittenger's law. Rittenger's law is basically also known as law of commutation. Okay, law of commutation. So the energy consumed in crushing or grinding is proportional to the amount of new surface formed. That is states by Rittenger's law. Okay, so we can write the Rittenger's law formula, that is E is equals to Kr 1 by dP minus 1 by dF. So sometimes they can ask the numericals on this formula also. So this Kr is basically Rittenger's constant, and this dP is diameter of particle, diameter of product particle, and this df is diameter of feed particles. Okay, so we can find that this Rittenger's law is basically related to law of combination or law of grinding or crushing, and this relates the energy with the diameters of particle or feed particles. Okay, now we will see the Sievert's law. Sievert's law is most basic, and we all know about the Sievert's law. So the solubility of diatomic gases is directly proportional to the partial pressure of that gases. Okay, so this we can identify the Sievert's law. The next is parabolic rate law. So parabolic rate law we can write like that: x proportional to under root of dt. Okay, so this d is diffusion, and this t is the time. So the thickness of layer increases as the square root of the time at constant temperature. This is known as parabolic rate law. Okay, so the last one is Fick's law, and this is most commonly used law in diffusion process. So the first law of Fick's first law is basically J is equals to minus d dc by dx. So this d is diffusivity or diffusion constant, and this dc by dx is concentration gradient. Okay, so this is the Fick's first law, and this is also known as steady state law. Okay, this is also known as steady state law. There is one more law of Fick's law that we can write like that. There is a equation for Fick's law. We can write like that: del c by del t is equals to d del square c by d del x square. Okay, so this is non-steady state equation of Fick's law, and this is for unidirectional flow. Okay, so we have seen all the options in detail, and the correct option for this question is B part. The next question is, extrusion pressure is proportional to fractional reduction in area. The A option. B option is natural logarithm of R. C is extrusion ratio, that is R, and D is natural logarithm of R. That is, this capital R means extrusion ratio, and this small r means reduction in area. Okay, so we should understand about the formula of extrusion pressure. So extrusion pressure is basically, we can write like that: P is equals to sigma naught multiplied by A naught, that is initial area, ln of A naught by AF. Okay, so they are asking about R means extrusion ratio. So we will see what is extrusion ratio. Extrusion ratio is basically R is equals to A naught by AF. So extrusion ratio is basically initial cross section area to the cross section area after extrusion. So this is extrusion ratio. So we can see that extrusion pressure is directly proportional to ln of R. Okay, so we can find the option which is correct. So fractional reduction in area. So in which options they have given reduction in area, that will be wrong. So A and B option is wrong. C part is extrusion ratio, not, no, this is also not correct because this is with ln value. Okay, so ln we also known as natural logarithm. So D part is correct. So P is directly proportional to ln of R, that is ln of extrusion ratio. So answer of this question is the extrusion pressure is proportional to natural logarithm of R. This is correct answer. So the next question is, in a three component system at constant pressure, the maximum number of phases that can coexist at equilibrium is. So we have to identify the maximum number of phases that can coexist at equilibrium. So here we will apply the Gibbs rule, Gibbs phase rule, that is F is equals to C minus P plus 1, and C value is given, that is 3 component system. That why this is basically the number of components. So C is equals to 3, number of phases we have to identify, and this F value. So whenever they will ask about the maximum number of phases, so maximum number of phases will be corresponds to maximum number of phases will be corresponds to minimum number of degree of freedoms, minimum number of degree of freedom. So in any system, minimum number of degree of freedom can be 0. So we will put F value as 0. So F is equals to 0, C is equals to 3. So F will be 0, F, so 0 equals to 3 minus P plus 1. So we will find the value of P from here. So we will get 4. So by solving this question, we get that P number of phases for the maximum number of phases that can coexist at equilibrium in three component system at constant pressure is P4. Okay, so for this type of questions we should learn this concept that for maximum number of phases uh, uh, we should assume that the degree of freedom will be minimum. This is the key point of this question. Thank you guys for your attention. Hope you guys have learned something new in this video, and we will try to add more and more videos if we will get positive response and valuable feedback from your side. Okay, so please give us feedback in comment section, and subscribe our channel and press bell icon to get notifications for upcoming videos.